Southbound era of Ma Yen, How Yuling. What can one do to travel back to that era? Aojo thought for a long time, and finally decided to take the college entrance exam. He became a great writer and used his pen to seek a happy life for the people around him. Because he came, Ma Yan's mother would not die from cancer. Because he arrived, Ma Yan's father became the director early on and could not sacrifice himself. Because of his arrival, Yao Er will not encounter Jia Jinlong, and her personality has undergone a major change. She is an independent and free kind woman. The books of the literary giant Aojo, including Twin Dragons of the Great Tang Dynasty, Biography of Qin, and Journey on a White Knight, have accompanied the growth of a generation. Cha Yong. Ask about the royalties for Aojo's book published in Xiangjiang. Bone Dragon. Aojo has a unique style and has formed its own faction Liao. I will personally go to Haching to urge for updates. Kigo Higashino. Why is he so excellent? He feels like his beard has been cut off by someone. Huang Yi. Same feeling. Chapter 1. Traveling from south to north, talking about Pingshu catching thieves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A train from Ningqing to Haching is steadily moving forward. The peach blossoms in Ningqing have already bloomed, but Haching has just melted with ice and snow. It is this train, carrying the scent of spring, piercing through the mist and cold, and moving towards its destination with vitality. Clattering, clattering. Melon seeds and peanuts are boiled in plain water. Excuse me, Haching red intestine braised knife. The train conductor Kai Xiaoyan shouted for 2 minutes, but suddenly turned around without moving forward. If it weren't for what I saw with my own eyes, who would have believed that so many people could fit inside the carriage? Northeast China is really too cold. If it were as warm as the Three Kingdoms, it would be hard to say that the train roof was also filled with people. Oh no, someone stepped on my foot, the shoes I just bought. Don't squeeze, my wife is pregnant and has had a miscarriage due to squeezing. Big brother, I can't pass it anymore. You've squeezed me into getting pregnant. Wang Xian struggled through the crowd and arrived in front of the bespectacled man who reported the incident. After a thorough questioning, I have gained a basic understanding of the case. Losing 3 xiaobing, baked cake and griddle, is like losing a soul. It's definitely not easy to lose xiaobing, baked cake and griddle. Although the bag is very distinctive, it is written with the words Shanghai on it. But with so many people on the train and only 5 minutes left to arrive at the station, the hope of finding it is already very slim. At this moment, in the train broadcast, the serious atmosphere had originally promoted the Marxist-Leninist Maoist ideology and promoted the main melody suddenly changed. Ladies and gentlemen, as the new announcer of this train, I would like to share with you a commentary on the journey. After a simple sentence, the noise inside the carriage seemed to have decreased slightly. First of all, let me introduce myself to everyone. The boy's name is Aojo. You may not know much about my name, but you can specify the names of my uncle and uncle. My cousin Shan Tianfang and my uncle Yuan Quicheng are both masters in the folk art circles of Liaoning and Shenyang, and they are great masters in storytelling. If I speak well, young man, you can write down my abilities to my uncle and grandfather. If I speak poorly, you can assume that I am not proficient in my studies. My uncle and grandfather do not have me as a disciple. Okay, this piece of sharp and powerful notes is related to the 2 masters. I have heard the storytelling of Shan Tianfang and Yuan Quicheng on the radio, and I both want to go to the 3 Kingdoms with a knife to attack Cao Cao. Don't talk, listen to the young gentleman's lecture. Although listening through the radio and not seeing anyone, there are still passengers whose emotions are easily aroused who agree. Aojo is a time traveler. The last second he was watching the TV series, Traveling North and South, and in the blink of an eye, it was 1978. After wearing it, his name remained the same. His mother passed away very early, and his father was a soldier, so he didn't have time to take care of him when he went to the battlefield. However, his father did not ignore him either. As a child of the courtyard, Aogyo was arranged by his father to join his comrade Makue. My job is also on the railway, as a train announcer under the railway art troupe. Aogyo is currently living with Makue's house. After finishing the positive energy manuscript, he freely shook out the storytelling he had heard in his previous life. This is not his intention. Which announcer doesn't want to take a sip of water to rest after finishing work? However, a girl next to him kept encouraging him. Brother Joe, you are so good at storytelling. You should show your skill. Ma Yan, with 2 fried dough twists, braids and a plain figure, pleaded. I want to tell you about the love story between men and women in storytelling and cross-talk. After crossing over, Aogyo had no system, but he awakened another golden finger. That's the book he read in his previous life, the storytelling and cross-talk he heard, and he remembers not a single word. Moreover, in the previous life, he was already quite outspoken, saying that storytelling had a unique style and had some similarities with Yuan Kuching's performance style. Well, Brother Joe. I just want you to show off in front of everyone. Ma Yan even grabbed Aogyo's hem and started shaking. I really have no way to deal with this little fangirl. A girl's emotional maturity is relatively early, how could Aogyo not know her careful thinking? It must have been talking to Yao Yuling about her relationship with herself, and showing off Aogyo to give her a storytelling alone, which provoked her. The exciting content should be to have Aogyo board the train for a while. Aogyo guessed 8 or 9 without leaving 10. He can still speculate about Ma Yan's idea of being a man for 2 generations. Aogyo is 1.8 meters tall, with straight facial features and humorous speech. He still lives in his own home. 18-year-old Ma Yan has long been interested in him. However, in this era when we have just freed ourselves from shackles, both men and women's emotions are introverted and suppressed, even if we like them, we cannot say it. But in actual behavior, there is ambiguity everywhere. Aogyo too was a person who enjoyed this feeling of ignorance and concealment. In order to satisfy Ma Yan's vanity, Aogyo took a sip of water and cleared his throat before starting to perform storytelling. Just as she said 2 words, Ma Yan excitedly applauded beside her. It's not because of how well Jiulu talks, but because Jiulu spoils him. My father was imprisoned for 10 years, and Ma Yan and his mother relied on each other. Suddenly, a handsome boy appeared to give him a lecture and tell jokes, while also taking care of everything at home. Ma Yan, who had lost her father's love for many years, felt a kind of care that was both father and brother. She felt as if she had something to rely on. My uncle and uncle are both elders. When performing storytelling, 2 middle-aged people in their 40s and 50s shamelessly called themselves elementary school students. My seniority cannot be higher than that of the second place, so my status naturally needs to be lowered. Dear uncles and brothers, it doesn't matter if you don't remember my name. Just know that I am the one who punched the Nanjing elderly home and kicked the mountain carving Aogyo in Beihai kindergarten, humph, ha ha ha. It's really interesting to say that storytelling has a feeling of listening to cross-talk. Too funny, the passengers cheered in the direction of the broadcast sound. My uncle and grandfather said, it's okay if you mess up when you go out. You can't call them both names. Oh my, I'm laughing so hard that my stomach hurts. Listening to him speak is more interesting than a duet. Who said it's not right? I laughed 3 times at the opening 5 or 6 sentences. The passengers were still chattering, thinking that Aogyo would soon enter the main text, but they didn't expect another package to be thrown out. When going out, safety is the top priority. When listening to storytelling, be sure to take care of your bag, take care of your children, and take good care of your wife. Don't neglect your own children and hold on to someone else's wife to listen to the storytelling. That's a crime of hooliganism. Ha ha ha. All the carriages burst into laughter. The performance of the storytelling had not yet begun, and the passengers were already amused. If I had performed storytelling early, I would not have slept, and also reminded me to watch Bao. The dejected Wang Guofu was full of regret. The 3 xiaobing, baked cake and griddle, were all his savings. Wang Xian comforted and continued to take Wang Guofu towards the direction of the dining car. The storytelling has officially begun, and most people think it's just a few traditional storytelling books, such as The Water Margin of the 3 Kingdoms and Journey to the West. In that era, people's entertainment life was scarce, and storytelling was basically the third type. Those who were knowledgeable could at most listen to the complete biographies of the Sui and Tang Fengshen and Shuoyu. However, what Ao Jiu performed was something that everyone had never heard of before. Speaking of Emperor Zhao Guanyi, the second emperor of the Song dynasty, the shadow of the axe and candle harmed his elder brother. He ascended to the throne as the Empress Dowager and forced the death of the Tang Empress. On this day, he was promoted to the palace for class and held a meeting with his courtiers inside the carriage, which originally had various sounds. Everyone held their breath and listened carefully. Just the first 2 sentences that hurt Big Brother and Jonah Xiaozhou have already piqued everyone's interest. Those 2 sentences were like 2 hooks, pulling the hearts of all passengers onto the storytelling. The story of the General of the Yang family has been passed down for a long time, but it is still the first time I have heard of storytelling. Ao Jiu's mouth was like a lotus flower, quickly using her own voice and a little verbal skills to bring all the passengers into the story. Some people follow the Yang family general to kill enemies for the country, with great enthusiasm, while others think that the 4 sons of the Yang family have died one after another, sighing. Even the movements of the police officer Wang Xian slowed down, and Wang Guofu, who was following behind, kept losing his focus. Wang Xian felt that this person had already broken the jar and was no longer worried about his savings. However, it was not only Wang Guofu who was deeply involved, but the entire carriage, and even the entire train, both passengers and staff, were conquered by Ao Jiu's performance. And from time to time, there are bursts of cheers and applause. Only Wang Xian still has some clarity. As he passed through the open space connected by the train, Ao Jiu happened to reach the climax, and there was another wave of cheers and applause. At this moment, the gaze outside the carriage suddenly flashed, and a person in the corner applauded passionately. A bag was exposed in my arms. Chapter 2 Shura Field. At the beginning, Ma Yan and Yao Yuling are going to tear their hair. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wang Xian furrowed his brows and couldn't help but glance at Wang Guofu behind him. Unexpectedly, Ao Jiu's storytelling made even thieves relax their guard. Judging from his infatuated appearance, he even forgot that he was a thief and thought he was a loyal young family general who served the country. However, just by looking at the corner of the bag, Wang Xian dared not judge whether it belonged to Wang Guofu or not. He slowly approached and quietly approached the suspicious lunatic. That's great, fellow villager. I even want to go to the battlefield and fight against the people of Liao now. Suspicious elements even got into a fight with Wang Xian. Do you know that in the past, the territory of Liao was in our northeast, and our territory was both Liao and Jin. Young Jiajiang and Grandpa Yu fought all over us. Wang Xian set up a stubble. You can just talk, lousy. This guy just saw clearly that he was a police officer next to him, and he was so scared that he jumped up in place. It was only then that he realized he was a thief. But it's already late now, there are people everywhere, and there's no place to run. Wang Xian caught the suspicious person and quickly snatched a leather bag from their arms. The 2 words Shanghai are dazzling and eye-catching. We don't have so many Han compatriots in this place then. Wang Guofu, who was following behind, also regained consciousness. Before he could check what was inside, he shouted loudly, "It's my bag, it's my bag, he's a thief." The people next to them listened very attentively, and everyone felt that they were loyal and upright gentlemen. Upon hearing the sound of catching a thief, I couldn't understand why. The police officer was right beside me, and everyone was filled with righteous indignation. They rushed over like chicken blood. I just heard the storytelling and my blood was boiling. I was worried that there would be no Liao dynasty devils to fight against, and it would be good to beat a thief. Yao Yuling, who was not far away, saw this scene and listened to the magnetic sound echoing in her ears, causing her whole body to drift. Thinking of Aojio's handsome face, she unconsciously twisted her legs and squeezed her straight legs hard. She is a bit absent-minded, others are full of national spirit, and she wants men to think a bit sticky. Sticky to the feeling of wanting to use the toilet. A section of storytelling, and even helped the police catch the thief, Yao Yuling casually said. But the passengers next to them nodded in agreement. The thief didn't run away when he did something bad. He stopped to talk about storytelling. This young man has a high standard. He is truly a disciple of Shan Tianfang and Yuan Quicheng. I will definitely tell everyone about this when I return to the village, and write a book to capture the thief. Not to mention, after listening to the storytelling, not only did I not feel cold anymore, but I didn't even feel hungry anymore. That's when you went hungry. Ha ha ha. Wang Xian's face looked a bit unpleasant. Didn't he catch the thief? Why are everyone praising Aojio? Capturing the thief is always a good thing, and Wang Xian's face is still filled with a smile. Thank you, comrade police, thank you, comrade broadcaster. Wang Guofu took out a xiaobing, baked cake in griddle, from his bag. Aojio and Ma Yan had no idea about a small incident inside the carriage. When Aojio clapped her palms and imitated the startled sound of the wood to end the performance, Ma Yan excitedly applauded. Pop 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 pop. Brother Joe, what you said is really good. Hee hee, how are you going to reward me? Aojio smiled and turned around. Ma Yan's face seemed to suddenly turn pink, from the base of her neck to the forehead, it was scorching hot. You drink some water first, you've been talking for so long. Ma Yan wrapped her broken hair around her index finger, her heart pounding. After drinking water, you can't fool me. You know what I want. Aojio stared at the little girl tightly, liking to see her pretty face turn red. Brother Joe, you're too bad, just like to bully others. Ma Yan was already so embarrassed that she stomped her feet repeatedly. What do you want? Is that still worth mentioning? Every time I catch someone, they become restless and even feel a little pain in the end. Bad brother Joe. If your throat is smoking, you can't follow me, Aojio pretended to be pitiful and deliberately said in a slightly hoarse voice. Alright, here it is for you. Ma Yan felt a little heartbroken and helpless. Jiulu is even older than himself, but sometimes he plays tricks like a child. Watching Ma Yan turn around, Aojio suddenly came to her senses. His throat stopped drying, he didn't drink water, and his outstretched hand still trembled slightly. At the moment when he held Ma Yan's fried dough twists braid in his hand, a wonderful pleasure filled his whole body. These two fried dough twists braids are too tempting to hold. That feeling is like a combative warrior, who can instantly connect with his warhorse's heart by holding onto the reins, imagining the pleasure of galloping on the battlefield. Ma Yan's braids are like reins. Aojio closed her eyes and quickly played the movie that could be completed by 2 or 3 people in her mind. His hand unconsciously exerted some force. Brother Joe, it hurts. Oh, I'm sorry for my mistake. The addiction was over, and Aojio reluctantly let go of Ma Yan's braid. In these days, the social atmosphere is conservative, and girls rarely mess with you until the moment they get married. Even childhood sweethearts have a very deep emotional connection, at most they just hold hands and touch their lips when the love is strong. Aojio knows that Ma Yan likes him, and he also likes Ma Yan. But at this stage, the two of them will hardly cross the minefield. On the other hand, Aojio, who was used to eating meat, suddenly felt that this ambiguous and pure emotion was also quite beautiful. Just as the two of them were facing each other, they didn't know what to say. Even if they didn't say anything, they knew what each other wanted to say when a voice came from outside the studio. A dozen or so people couldn't catch a chicken, so they were listening to storytelling here. Goo 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 goo. Yao Yuling grabbed the chicken that was fascinated by storytelling and then knocked on the door of the broadcasting room. Ao Jiu and Ma Yan exchanged a glance, and the little girl quickly tidied up her relatively neat clothes. Suddenly, she remembered that she had just been braided and tidied up her hair. Please come in. After the door opened, Yao Yuling's delicate and pretty face first caught the eye. She first saw Ao Jiu with a bright smile, but when she saw Ma Yan beside her, her smile stiffened slightly. However, Yao Er matured even earlier and carefully concealed her emotions. Brother Jiu, Comrade Wangguofu, we must thank you in person for helping him find his bag. Upon hearing these words, Ao Jiu was taken aback and said, I just talked about some storytelling. Can your bag still have something to do with me? That thief was fascinated by the storytelling and accidentally exposed his bag. Wang Xian was quick-witted and quickly caught it, so you were half the credit. Yao Er explained the situation and even added extra gold to Ao Jiu's face. Yes, the little comrade's storytelling is really good. The thieves have forgotten that they are thieves. Wang Guofu quickly stepped forward and took Ao Jiu's hand to express gratitude. I dare not take credit for it, it's all thanks to the police. Ao Jiu quickly became humble. He had a good relationship with Wang Xian and would definitely not take credit for his friends. Well, don't take credit for it. Women cannot tolerate it. The police officer has made contributions, but it is still you who made the most of it. Look, the 3 police officers couldn't catch that chicken. Now the chicken is stunned when you tell the storytelling. Even thin female flight attendants can catch it. This metaphor, although somewhat exaggerated, is still barely acceptable. After another wave of politeness and mutual humility, the kingdom left with great prosperity and excitement. The broadcasting room is not very spacious, and Yao Er, Ma Yan, and Ao Jiu are still a bit crowded. And the beautiful eyes of Yao Er and Ma Yan standing on both sides of Ao Jiu, half staring at the man in the middle, and the other half cracking with electric sparks and stones. Just as Ao Jiu didn't know how to face this Shura field, Ma Yan began to mock. Do you know the plot behind Yang Jiajiang? Jioga has told me it separately. Ma Yan is usually reasonable and an independent girl. I can't believe it's starting to show off now. Love makes people's intelligence decline. What are you showing off? Isn't it because Jiogu is staying at your house? I will also stay there in a few days. Yao Er refused to take a loss. But, everyone, listen, is this still what a normal yellow flower girl says? Chapter 3. Yao Yuling also wants to take the college entrance exam, while Ao Jiu tutors 2 girls. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. You're crazy about it. You're still staying at my house. Why don't you let Brother Jiu stay at your house? Ma Yan didn't give the other person a face. Ma Yan, let Jiugu stay at my house. Yao Er retorted sharply. Pooh, you stink shamelessly. You're not shy, Brother Jiu still needs to be innocent. Ma Yan is in a hurry. Jiu Ji's house is his freedom. My father and Uncle Ao are comrades in arms and have a close relationship with your family. Look at how scared you are. Yao Yuling is not such a casual person either. Hurry up to your position and don't disturb Jioga's rest here. Ma Yan began to drive away. Don't be shy, don't sell pickled vegetables, sneak onto our train, I want to check your ticket now, Yao Er retorted, and really reached out her hand. But to her surprise, Ma Yan actually bought a ticket. Now, I have a clear view. Although I am a family member of an employee, I still bought the ticket for this train according to the regulations. Yao Er was taken aback and immediately retorted, your seat is in the 3rd carriage. This is the broadcasting room. Passenger, please return to your seat and do not disturb the announcer's work, you. Ma Yan trembled with anger. Ao saw the situation and quickly persuaded to fight. If I don't take action myself, the famous scene of tearing and pulling my hair will be staged ahead of schedule. Alright, everyone is from the same hospital, don't argue anymore. I'm quite spacious here, I can accommodate you too. Brother Jiu. Ma Yan was a little disappointed, and Ao didn't speak for her. Yao Er, who originally felt like she had lost one, was very happy. Brother Jiu, I also want to take the college entrance exam. I know what you're thinking, daydreaming. Ma Yan quickly guessed the other person's thoughts. I didn't ask you to teach again, why are you in a hurry? Yao Er gave Ma Yan a white glance. Ao originally had a personality of central air conditioning, and as a person of 2 generations, he always wanted to have what he liked. He came to this world to fulfill his dreams and solve difficulties. He neither wants Ma Yan's parents to leave this world, nor does he want Ma Yan to be happy. I don't want Yao Er to choose Jia Jinlong due to mental issues, money worship, and other reasons. He wants everyone to live well. Everyone is from the same hospital, it's a piece of cake. When I tutor Ma Yan, Yuling can also come and listen. Ao generously agreed. This sentence must have hurt Ma Yan, as soon as she saw her face brush down. She felt that Jiu was like the little sun used at home in winter. Although it was the warmest from the nearest distance, he didn't refuse to come closer and contributed his light and heat to the maximum extent possible. But as a girl, Ma Yan is selfish and wants her own light and heat. But she doesn't blame Brother Jiu. A man like this is always the focus of women no matter where they are. Hate those shameless women, lose money and stick it up. Ma Yan had a deep sense of crisis. Yao Er saw that her goal had been achieved and said, Jiu called me when the class started. It's almost time to stop, I'll go to my post first. Go ahead, go ahead. After seeing off Yao Yuling, Ao quickly began to comfort the pouting Ma Yan. No matter what era it is, as long as a woman knows that the man in front of her is submissive, she will exert herself. This thing has nothing to do with age intelligence, only with personality. However, Ma Yan is an exception. She has a particularly good personality. After Ao pulled out the chocolate, the other person showed a smile. After work, let's go to the director's office with me first, and then we'll go home together. Ao suggested. The chocolate with a rich aroma made Ma Yan feel as if she was immersed in the happiness of love, but when she heard Ao talk about the director, she almost choked on the sweetness of her greasy throat. Director, I haven't even seen the station master before. You can go by yourself, Brother Jiu. I'll wait for you at the platform square. It's so cold outside, you wait for me outside the office, and I'll come out as soon as I talk to the director, Ao casually wrote. No, I'm still waiting for you in the square. Ma Yan has never seen such a big official before. What are you afraid of? The director, my dad, and your dad used to be in the same army. That's different. The director is a professional division commander, Uncle Ao is also a division commander now, and my father is a guard squad leader. Ma Yan was very self-aware. If I take you home in the future, wouldn't I dare to see my dad? Ao asked with a smile. That's different. Ma Yan's brain was still functional, and the meaning in Ao's words could not be understood. The unhappiness brought by Yao Yuling completely dissipated. Brother Jiu was just a good person who allowed Yao Yuling to listen. I will see Brother Jiu's parents in the future. Ma Yan, who blushed again, wrapped her hair around her index finger. In no time, the train arrived at the station, and Ma Yan, who had been thinking of meeting her parents, personally put her braid in Ao's hand. An hour later, Ma Yan was still reluctantly taken by Ao to the office building of the Railway Bureau. But when she arrived in the hallway, just a few dozen meters away from the director's office, she couldn't survive. Aogyo had no choice but to knock on the wooden door of the office of the director of Haching Railway Bureau alone. Enter. But from this penetrating word, one can tell that the director is a high-ranking official who has been trained in the military for many years, and his official prestige and courage have become a habit. Aogyo walked into the director's office without bowing in the slightest, holding a tea can. "Uncle Wang, my dad sent some tea from the south and asked me to deliver it to you." Seeing Aogyo, the director showed a rare smile. "Ao Datu, this is showing off to me. When I changed jobs, I regretted it. If I were still in the army, now the front line would be my command of the main force." The director's words seemed like a joke, but also a bit envious. Even if the other party really envies, Aogyo still regards this as a joke. "Uncle Wang, my dad was brought out by you. If he goes, it's equivalent to you going. My dad won the battle, and you also contributed to it. If he goes, it's equivalent to me going. Ha ha ha, your kid's writing is good, his mouth is still smooth, he's your son. Seed the troops, from officers to soldiers, speak straightforwardly, and, it's your son. Seed sounds awkward, but it's a compliment. The meaning of lousy being a hero and a hero." The director smiled happily, and Aogyo's words perfectly flattered him. "I have been in a relationship with your father for many years. You can just say what you need and don't have to deal with such nonsense." The director is straightforward and doesn't hesitate. Since Aogyo didn't explain his purpose, he asked directly. "Uncle Wang, I'm really here to bring tea to the old leader for my dad. As a young man, I can eat alone and my whole family is not hungry. There's nothing we need." "That's true. Your kid earns 30 yuan a month and has received 5 royalties this month. His entire monthly income is already 80 yuan. Even technical workers with decades of service experience don't earn as much as your kid." Director Wang stood up and personally poured a glass of water for Aogyo. "Isn't it because you said hello to the elder sister that my manuscript can pass?" Aogyo pushed the credit onto the director. The elder sister he mentioned is the eldest daughter of Director Wang, who is currently the deputy editor-in-chief of the weekly report of Harbin Urban Railway Bureau. After coming to this era, Aogyo realized that each era has its own characteristics. If it goes back to about 2000 years, he can work on the internet and real estate. If it is in the 1990s, he can also be a township entrepreneur with his memory and ability, and play in the business world with Shura Group. Even if it's a few more years later, the degree of openness in society will be completely different from now. At present, the issues with F4 have just been clarified, not to mention the reform and opening up, the route is not yet clear. However, as a reborn person, only the ability to adapt to the times. Doing business now can be considered speculative, and working and farming are just barely making ends meet. It's quite difficult to make money. But there is a type of person who is more open-minded and has a high income. That's writers, and literary workers. As mentioned earlier, Shan Tianfang was able to earn over 1,000 yuan in a performance in the early 1980s. And for those who can write articles and publish books, the manuscript fee is also very high. Writing a best-selling book alone costs tens of thousands of yuan. Don't look down on tens of thousands of yuan. In 10 years, a household with 10,000 yuan will also be a rare item. Coincidentally, Aogyo's golden finger is the amazing memory of the previous life, and his mind is filled with various novels and articles. So he wrote several articles according to the main theme of this era and submitted them to the Railway Weekly. I didn't expect to be noticed by the senior sister as the deputy editor-in-chief, and I accidentally started chatting with Director Wang. Director Wang, who has a high political consciousness, read Aogyo's articles and suggested that his daughter use Aogyo's articles more frequently. To everyone's surprise, the top leader in the province read what Aogyo had written and even mentioned that his secretary could study this article more. This is also why the Railway Weekly Report uses Aogyo's 5 articles per month. Since exposing short stories and writing articles can earn money quickly at present, Aojio is reviewing for the college entrance examination while earning some pocket money. After lighting a cigarette for Director Wang, Aojio said he wouldn't disturb Uncle Wang if he still had something to do. Wait, I heard that the serialized novel in the Railway Weekly is almost over. Give your sister a call and ask if you have any requirements, and see if you can take this off yourself. Upon hearing this, Aojio almost jumped up, dozing off and giving it to the pillow. Serializing novels in newspapers is a piece of fat. Chapter 4. Wang Xinniu is not calm even when he is strong, and the beautiful girls in the courtyard are rare to him. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Uncle Wang, you look up to my nephew so much. It's okay to write some comments and short stories. Serializing something like that requires skill. You don't need to be humble, kid. I heard from your train conductor that you often tell employees evaluations, which are all lengthy. That's all just casual play. That's not for fun. Your cousin is Shan Tianfang, your grandfather is Yuan Qicheng, and your circle has this gene. Go back and write tens of thousands of words, show it to your elder sister, maybe there will be a play. Director Wang took out a puff of smoke. Okay, I still have the college entrance examination, so I'll just use my free time to write something casually. Aojio suppressed her excitement and said reluctantly. Your job as a train announcer is to sleep, so it's better to write something. Let me tell you something. The little story you wrote, Uncle Wang loves to read. Write well. Director Wang patted Aojio's shoulder. I've been fussing for a while, it's because you love to read that you asked me to write. Aojio couldn't help but cry and laugh. Ensure completion of the task. Aojio saluted, imitating the demeanor of a soldier. Go ahead, don't embarrass yourself and me. If you need anything, just come to me. Director Wang personally escorted Aojio out of the office. Uncle Wang, I'll come see you another day. Aojio waved goodbye. Well, is that Ma Kuei's daughter? Director Wang's eyes were sharp as he saw Ma Yan in the distance. Yes. Well, yes, you live at Ma Kuei's house. Director Wang smiled casually and with profound meaning. Aojio's face couldn't help but turn red. She quickly ran to Ma Yan's side and pulled the girl away. This kid is much stronger than his father. Ao Datu only found his wife at 25, and his son started to wave at 18. Director Wang smiled and shook his head. The younger generation has grown up, and they are really old. Aojio rode a brand new big Phoenix bike and rode proudly on the spacious road. It is rare to see cars in this era. This is still Hacheng, other small cities may not see a car for a week. Hacheng is close to Maoxiong and has many Russian-style buildings, combined with the liberated rear cover buildings, giving a feeling of combining Chinese and Western culture. But the main color scheme of all buildings is mostly gray, blue, and white, which looks a bit oppressive. The crowd on the street is mostly wearing clothes of the same color, lacking many bright colors, which makes people feel a bit less lively. Passing through the main block of the city, turning 2 streets, entering the alley and walking for a while, finally returning to the courtyard of the railway family. The journey was quite bumpy, but Ma Yan only pulled on Aojio's clothes and didn't hug her waist. At the entrance of the courtyard, I happened to meet the postman riding a bicycle and carrying an oil green backpack. Aojio, your manuscript fee has arrived again. The postman handed the envelope to Aojio. The sender is a Railway Weekly report, which must contain the manuscript fee. Not to mention the postman, the entire courtyard knows that Aojio is capable, and even the monthly manuscript fee is several tens of yuan. Guang Aojio alone is equivalent to the income of 2 employees. What is the concept of dual employees? It's great if others have enough to eat. Dual employees can eat meat and have meals every 3 days. Aojio casually handed the envelope to Ma Yan behind her. The latter is like both a housekeeper and a miser, happily receiving the envelope into the bag. I'll save it for Brother Jiu. When he marries me in the future, if it's not enough, I'll add it to him. Ma Yanmei thought happily. After entering the yard, the sound of arguments between couples, crying of children, and the sound of news on the radio, combined with the clucking sound of hens laying eggs. A strong atmosphere of courtyard life rushed towards us. The women picking vegetables saw the intimate relationship between Aogyo and Ma Yan, and because the parties involved were present, they suppressed the gossip heart with the power of the flood and wilderness. Ma Yan felt that she had jumped down too late and was seen by her sharp-eyed neighbors. But it doesn't matter when you think that Jujban is living in your own home. Brother Joe, I'll go help cook. Lock the car and come back to rest quickly. Ma Yan carried her bag into the room. As soon as Aogyo locked the car, he saw Nyo Dolly holding his distinctive eyebrows and walking over with a smile. I heard from Xiao Nian that the Yang family is particularly talented. You know, I love listening to storytelling the most. I didn't listen at that time. Nyo Dolly wiped the non-existent sweat stains with the yellowed white towel. Everyone is a neighbor, and people in this era are relatively simple, and there is nothing unreasonable about this request. Dolly, look at the low temperature these past few days. When it gets warmer, the big guy will be outside to cool off. Let me tell the neighbors in the yard together. How about that? Aogyo spoke politely, and his emotions were reasonable. Nyo Dolly was also not a jerk, scratching his head and repeatedly saying yes. At this moment, Wang Xian also walked over. Aogyo, Dolly, played cards at night after dinner. Oh no, unfortunately, I promised Ma Yan to help her revive mathematics, so I guess I can only play for a while. Aogyo helplessly spread out his hand. Wang Xian had some appetite, but he still smiled and said, it's important to take the college entrance exam. It seems that Ma Yan doesn't have time to play cards anymore. Everyone has been tired at work all day today, take a break early, and there will be plenty of time to play together in the future. Aogyo spoke without a word, and Wang Xian could only nod. Aogyo apologized and entered Ma Yan's house. Wang Xian's eyes were fixed on him, and he also wanted to go. But he is just a vocational school student, and Ma Yan is a pair of lying dragons and phoenix chicks, so he really can't tutor them. Aogyo is different. That kid only has one day, and there are no questions on the review materials that she doesn't know. As long as Ma Yan has a problem, Aogyo can solve it. And he also writes good articles, which are included in every issue of the Railway Weekly Report. Wang Xian shook his head, unable to compare. Since Aogyo entered the courtyard, he immediately attracted everyone's attention, and on the same day, he replaced him as the most capable junior in the railway staff courtyard. All of them are young people of 18 years old. It's false if they're not jealous, but Aogyo's interpersonal skills are impeccable. And he is very enthusiastic towards everyone. The neighbors in the yard need help, and Aogyo never hesitates. Even if anyone needs money, he will do his best to support them. This kind of neighbor, who is also of the same age, even if the other person steals his attention, Wang Xian still thinks that the other person is quite good. At this moment, a touch of pink appeared in the yard, and the Nyo Dolly on the body of the boiling sheep quickly pasted it on. Yuling, play cards together tonight. No, I want to take the college entrance exam. I'll go to Ma Yan's house to attend classes tonight. Nyo Dolly's eyes are twitching, what's going on? Since Aogyo came, why has everyone enjoyed studying? Everyone has to take the college entrance exam. Wang Xian, what do you think? Everyone is making progress one by one, just the two of us idling around, right? Wang Xian also felt uncomfortable. Who said it wasn't pinching? When Aogyo didn't come, the four of us were promoted. Later on, when Ma Yan wanted to take the college entrance exam, he could only fight against landlords with 3 people. Now that Yuling is good, she is also going to take the college entrance exam. Let's play chess at a young age. Niu Dali doesn't like playing chess because he has never won against Wang Xian. Pull it down, just your stinky chess basket, wash it up and sleep. Wang Xian was like a deflated ball, listless as he went home to eat. There was only Niu Dali left in the yard, and he suddenly felt a bit confused. There is no TV or radio at home, he doesn't like reading, and he doesn't have a wife. It's impossible to just go to bed after eating for a long night. He suddenly thought of Yao Yuling going to Ma Yan's house and said, "Why don't I go listen to the class too? Although I can't understand a word." After making up his mind, Niu Dali hesitated for a long time about whether to call Wang Xian, but ultimately did not call. At 8 p.m., Aojiu, who had been talking about middle school functions for half an hour, felt a bit helpless. None of the three students understood. When Yao Yuling and Niu Dali didn't come, Ma Yan's comprehension ability was still good. But since Yao Yuling, Ma Yan has never had the heart to listen to the class, and the two have been struggling. Niu Dali is even more outstanding. He is not here to listen to the class, and his little gaze has never left Yao Yuling. As a teacher, I have no choice but to support the table. I see if you're in a bad state today. Let's change our minds and achieve double success. Pop. Niu Dali patted his hands. Hi. You're right, Wang Xian didn't come, we happen to be 4 people. Aojiu shook her head helplessly and said, 7849. This is Niu Dali's mathematical level. But Ma Yan and Yao Yuling were eager to be Aojiu's opposite home, and the smell of gunpowder in the air almost choked Niu Dali to death. How about we side with Aojiu? Niu Dali suggested. You shut up. The two women both spoke up at the same time. It was indeed a mistake to mix 2 women together. However, Aojiu had no choice. He couldn't spend time alone with Ma Yan like before. Because Ma Kuei has returned. Chapter 5. TV station seeks Jiulu to record a program, he wants to become a star. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After Ma Kuei returned, Aojiu returned to her single dormitory. Their place is just that small. Previously, Ma Yan lived with her mother, while Aojiu made do with hanging a wooden door curtain in the living room for a period of time. Now that Ma Kuei has returned, Aojiu must move somewhere. Coincidentally, Ma Yan stayed on the wooden bed that Aojiu had slept on. Ma Kuei just came back these 2 days and found Aojiu pleasing everywhere. Moreover, when he was tutoring his daughter, she was very serious. But he is also very worried. In the quiet of the night, I talked to my wife about Aojiu. That child has culture, ability, talent, and looks handsome, everything is good. The mother.in.law looked more and more at her son.in.law. Wang Shufan boasted profusely. It's just great, I always feel like our daughter doesn't match Aojiu. Ma Kuei is also 40 years old, serving in the military for 5 years, serving as a police officer for 5 years, and being wronged and imprisoned for 10 years. If it weren't for the old leader personally investigating, he would still be inside. It is because he owes too much to the AO family that he thinks more. Our daughter's appearance is very upright, why doesn't she match Aojiu? My wife was not convinced. Marriage is about matching one's family, not just about appearance. Aojiu's father is a division commander, and you and I are both police officers. Ma Kuei can also fall in love with Aojiu, but as a man, he is more rational. What's wrong with the teacher? As long as Aojiu is willing to accept our Ma Yan, and Ma Yan is also willing, I think it can be achieved. Besides, if Mayor Ao doesn't entrust Aojiu to Wang Ju and lowers our house, it shows that Mayor Ao is also interested. Not to mention the bureau chief and division chief, the days when military and provincial governors lived in cowsheds have only passed a few days. Although Wang Sufan is gentle and virtuous, she is also a knowledgeable woman. Shoo, don't talk nonsense about something. Ma Kuei stopped his wife's mouth. The two of them remained silent for a moment, and Ma Kuei let out a sigh. It was useless to daydream about these things. Ma Yan and Ao Jiu are better than Wang Xian, which is more in line with his wishes. Sleep, sleep. Days are dull yet hopeful, and Ao Jiu's work is not very busy, so he has plenty of time to write novels and review with Ma Yan. Usually, Ao Jiu goes to Ma Yan's house and happens to have dinner there when it's time. On this day, Ao Jiu was helping Ma Yan dry clothes in the yard, and a middle-aged man wearing glasses and holding a briefcase came in outside the door. "Is Ao Jiu at home?" Shaking the water from his hand, Ao Jiu waved and said, "Comrade here." The middle-aged man walked quickly to Ao Jiu's side and smiled, reaching out to grab Ao Jiu. "Comrade, I have heard you talk about General Yang. The person who came was very enthusiastic, and the person who spoke was Yang family generals. However, Ao Jiu only talked about it once on the train, so this person should be a passenger on that train." "Oh, why are you here this time?" As Ao Jiu spoke, many people had already emerged from the yard. Niu Dali and Yao Yuling watched from a distance, and several aunties perked up their ears to listen carefully. "It's like this, I'm the director of our Longjiang provincial radio station. This is my introduction letter. I am an ordinary employee of the Railway Bureau. Why do you show me the introduction letter?" Ao Jiu said, but still took a look at the introduction letter. "It doesn't matter if you don't look, I was startled at first glance." Uncle Wang took a bit of a big step. "Comrade, have you seen it clearly?" Ao Jiu swallowed his saliva. "Not on secondment. It's a collaboration." "Yes, that's what you mean. What do you think?" The man in glasses nodded and looked at Ao Jiu eagerly. "Recording Yang family generals is a big job. I have no fame or ability, so I dare not take it. Comrade, after listening to your review, I couldn't pull it out at that time. It's been 5 days now, and I can't sleep every day. I just want to listen to your Yang family general. I am a director, and I believe in my expertise and judgment. Not only me, but also our webmaster, this is our unanimous judgment." The man with glasses is a bit excited. "Sorry, may I ask your surname?" Ao Jiu quickly asked the other person's name. "Run Yang, just call me Lao Fu." "I dare not, I'll call you Teacher Fu instead." Ao Jiu was a bit tempted. It is clearly stated in the document that Ao Jiu belongs to the Railway Cultural and Art Troupe, but can cooperate with other units under the name of the Cultural and Art Troupe. The specific conditions can be discussed by Ao Jiu himself. That is to say, Ao Jiu can offer his own price to cooperate with Longjiang provincial radio station as long as he is willing. Finally, just pay 30% of the income to the Railway Art Troupe. This era is not yet fully open, but some corporate units have already gained a momentum of going it alone. The same goes for the cultural troupe where Shan Tianfang and Yuan Quicheng work, allowing them to work independently as long as a portion of their income is handed over to the unit. This can be considered as a household contract in the literary and artistic circles. It is precisely because of the opening up of such opportunities that several veteran artists can earn thousands of yuan in a performance. Not to mention the widespread use of televisions, the entire Harbin city does not exceed 100 units. So the main force of entertainment in this era is the radio, and it is a reliable king. In cultural and entertainment programs carried by radio, music, opera, cross-talk, and storytelling are the 4 great kings. Among them, storytelling is the most popular among the people of Guangda, loved by all ages and genders. It is not an exaggeration to say that Yuan Quicheng and Shan Tianfang were the Jie Chou and Yisin Chan of that era. Both of those people are from Liaoning province. After the fire of storytelling, the whole country went to Liaoning province to record tapes. It is said that there are hundreds of units queuing up. A unit charges 500 yuan, and just recording a few Tsui troops in Liaoning province earns tens of thousands. Can other music troupes and radio stations across the country not be jealous? But there's nothing I can do about redness. Yuan Kuching and San Fang, Shan Tianfang, Lu Lanfang, Zhanghefang, are all from Liaoning province, and others can only envy them. The popularity of storytelling lasted for more than a decade, until the decades when black and white televisions were fully popularized, and storytelling still had a large audience. Even the popular Young Family Generals, Gone 19 Sisters, and 3 Heroes and 5 Righteousness that later aired nationwide were all adapted from storytelling. Longjiang Province and Liaoning Province are both located in the northeast, and those who are close to the water are the first to receive the moon. They also enjoy listening to storytelling, and they can quickly obtain audio tapes. But that's not my own after all. The station manager and director of the radio station took a train ride and suddenly discovered a talent, which was like picking up a treasure. They also don't expect AOGO to be as well known nationwide as Sanfang Yuan Kuching, as long as they can ensure that all the broadcasts in Longjiang province are sufficient. As for how to cooperate between both parties, that's not about making a report and collaborating with brother units. As a result, Iron Boss did not play cards according to common sense and asked them to directly talk to AOGO. This is why Run Yang came to find AOGO. Having figured these things out, AOGO couldn't help but think more. When Ma Yan's mother Wang Shufan was diagnosed with cancer, she was already in the advanced stage. If checked now, can we avoid the late-stage result? Early treatment may increase the likelihood of recovery. But no matter what, money is needed. So we must make good use of this opportunity. Teacher Fu, I'm going to record and evaluate books. Is the compensation negotiable? Sure, I can talk to you now. Can you share your thoughts? Run Yang raised his glasses. Well, then I need to talk to the webmaster. Chapter 6. Not Hypoglycemia, Caught Away by a Man. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. AOGO said a word, but Yang remained silent for a long time with the top rune. I'm not saying your level is not enough, I just have a lot of ideas and I'm afraid it might scare you, AOGO quickly explained. Young man, your uncle and I are quite knowledgeable. How could we possibly be scared by you? If it's okay, you can share your thoughts. If I'm really scared, I'll take you to the webmaster immediately. Fu Wenyang now feels that this kid is crazy and has been looked down upon. Then I can say it. Although I have worked with a great director from Beijing before, my girl has also appeared in movies, which can scare you. Teacher Fu, this is our first collaboration. In the early stages, I can do it without taking any money, but let's split the cost of the recording tape between us. If the general of the Young family becomes popular throughout the country, then for the subsequent storytelling, each part will cost 10,000 yuan, and we will split the cost of the audio tape. What are you saying? Fu Wenyang dropped his briefcase in his hand. He only earns 45% of his monthly salary, and this kid speaks up for tens of thousands. He even says that recording tapes can be divided into 50.50 and 60.4. Shan Tianfang wouldn't dare to be so crazy when she came. You see, I said it would scare you. On the side, Ma Yan covered her mouth and smiled. Although she was also startled by AOGO's lion's big mouth, she was still amused. Jiu Ji's favorite thing to do is to brag. Nyo Dali even started counting with his fingers, 10,000 yuan, I can't count from dark to light. Yao Yuling felt a bit nostalgic again. Although that man was bragging, even his boastful appearance was so handsome. Recently, Wang Xian has seen many scams on the train, but he still thinks that AOGO is the most powerful and dares to cheat the radio station's money. Comrade, I don't think you have any sincerity. Anyway, if you take me to see your station chief, you won't be at a disadvantage, and I don't know why you're struggling. AOGO probed his hand. Fu Wenyang thinks that what AOGO said makes sense. Okay, it's not far anyway. I also need to go when recording the evaluation book, and I'll see you all at once. Fu Wenyang felt that he couldn't make the decision and could only agree. Wait for me here, I'll go change my clothes. Under the gaze of everyone, Ao Jiu turned around and left. Brother Jiu, I'll accompany you. Ma Yan finished speaking and went home to change clothes. When Ao Jiu passed by Yao Yuling, a flower on the railway stumbled and almost fell. Ao Jiu quickly helped her up. Flower crazy, I can't walk anymore when I see a man, Wang Xin sneered on the side. Niu Dali was a bit anxious and quickly went up to help his beloved goddess. But Ao Jiu took out a piece of candy wrapped in golden wrapping paper from his pocket and handed it to Yao Yuling. Her lips turned white, and there was no blood on her face. She had low blood sugar, not a fanatic. Eat this chocolate. Yao Yuling's head was dizzy, and when Wang Xin mentioned her, she also felt like she had been captivated by a man. Just now, Ao Jiu was too difficult to control. Just speak and scare the director of the radio station. Moreover, if they are going to record storytelling, they will soon become celebrities. Yao Yuling had more thoughts in her heart. But he didn't want to have low blood sugar, so he even ate chocolate. Yao Yuling had eaten big white rabbit milk candy during the Chinese New Year, and she had only heard of chocolate. Yao Yuling suddenly thought more. Will he like me? From tutoring for college entrance exams to giving chocolates. Don't spend all your money on fabric in the future, be full. Ao Jiu knew the plot and reminded like a doctor. But Niu Dali was a bit jealous and stepped forward to lift Yao Yuling's leg. Let's take Yao Er to the house, she might just rest and recover. Oh, what are you doing? I just ate Jyoga's chocolate and immediately felt comfortable. Yao Yuling avoided Niu Dali's rough black hand in disgust. After eating chocolate, you also need to rest, Ao Jiu said seriously. Yao Yuling's face burned slightly, then you can send me back. Ao Jiu had no choice but to have the princess carry Yao Yuling back to her room. This scene happened to be clearly seen by Ma Yan, who came out. She stomped her feet, pouted her lips, and returned to her own home. Ao Jiu settled Yao Yuling, left Niu Dali and Wang Xin to take care of her, and quickly went to change clothes on her own. When he changed his clothes and arrived at the courtyard, but couldn't wait for Ma Yan, he had to enter Ma Yan's house. Auntie Sufan, has Ma Yan gone out? Ao Jiu, let's have dumplings with pork and scallions for lunch. Ma Yan just left and went back to the house. Wang Sufan waved 2 kitchen knives and clattered the filling. Ao Jiu walked into Ma Yan's small space with a smile and saw her pretending to do exercises. Didn't you go to the radio station with me? How did you solve the problem? I won't go, I need to study hard and make sure to get into college. Don't pretend to be younger sister, you've taken the book upside down. Ao Jiu stepped forward and placed his hand on Ma Yan's shoulder. You, don't. Thinking that her mother was outside, Ma Yan suppressed her words from behind. Ma Yan's expression immediately reminded Ao Jiu that she must have seen him holding Yao Yuling just now. Why? Are you jealous? Ao Jiu gently picked up Ma Yan's fried dough twists braid, then put it on his nose and sniffed it carefully. Why are you holding another woman and I'm jealous? Ma Yan's voice was low, but her attitude was firm. Ao Jiu's behavior cannot be forgiven. As for Ao Jiu playing with her braids, I'm used to it. Ma Yan's whip has become accustomed to playing, and Ao Jiu has also become accustomed to it. But every time he picks up his braid, his heart is filled with passion. Why don't I hug you too? Ao Jiu said and picked up Ma Yan horizontally. You're going to die, Ma Yan threatened with her mouth. However, intimidation is ineffective. My mom is still outside. Looking at Ma Yan's shy and rosy face and pink lips, Ao Jiu struggled to control herself. He slowly put down Ma Yan and received a punch from the other party. Even if I play hooliganism, I can't stand in front of Niu Dali and Wang Xin. Wang Xin is a police officer and a disciple of Uncle Ma Kuei. You can't arrest me. Jiulu argued and explained. But you. Ma Yan still had doubts in her heart. Yao Yuling's salary was paid in cloth, and she almost fainted due to low blood sugar. Fortunately, I helped her, and Wang Xin and Nyo Dolly helped to take her back. But can't you let them hold each other? You want to hold them yourself. Ma Yan still couldn't pass. Remember, next time I'll throw her to Nyo Dolly. Jiulu looked sincere. Upon hearing this, Ma Yan chuckled and felt something was wrong. You're going to die, there's another time. Right, right. Next time she faints, I'll hide next to her, whoever I love. Jiulu put on an obedient look. Ma Yan finally forgave Jiulu and treated this matter as an accident. Hurry up and leave, don't let Teacher Fu wait for too long. Ma Yan got up and was about to leave. As a result, he was stopped by Jiulu. Wait a minute, I haven't smelled enough yet, said Jiulu as she picked up Ma Yan's braid. Keep your voice down, my mom heard you, Ma Yan complained. Okay, Jiulu pleaded for mercy while tightly gripping Ma Yan's braid. You two should go out quickly. Our room is separated by the door curtain, and I heard everything, Wang Sufan said while making dumplings. Chapter 7. Teacher Fu, your daughter is a star. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 8. The Heavenly Immortal Mother is from our corner. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Fu Wenyang listened to such awkward praise and didn't know how to answer for a moment. This young man is too annoying. He can only pretend to be forced by himself. I was just showing off my daughter when he made a joke of me turning around. However, colleagues were also surprised that Run Yang's daughter picked up the strengths of her parents. After hearing so much praise, he didn't care anymore. Can only say in a roundabout manner, is her mother a teacher, or is her mother teaching better? Jiulu gave a thumbs up and said that Teacher Fu had a virtuous wife to assist him. This sentence doesn't have any other meaning, and Fu Wenyang's words were also praised by Jiulu before. The three of them arrived at the director's office and were about to knock on the door when they heard a voice coming from inside. Fu Wenyang had to let go and gestured for Jiulu to wait for a while. The sound insulation condition of the wooden door is quite poor, and the sound of speaking inside can be heard clearly outside. Director Yang, I graduated in July. How do you think I have performed during my internship at Taiwan? You have a solid foundation, and your old colleagues in the station also praise you for having work in your hands. However, you also know that the number of formal workers here is limited. So, do I have no hope? Xiaoli, the treatment for temporary workers here is also quite good, and they can become regular within 3 years. Thank you, the director. The Wuhan Song and Dance Troupe has been preparing it for me, but because Longjiang Hacheng is my hometown, I want to come back. If you can't become a regular worker immediately, then forget it. Actually, I wanted you to stay. Got it, thank you, director. Originally discussing work issues, Jiulu suddenly realized. However, as soon as the door to the director's office opened, Jiulu's eyes immediately widened. If Fu Weiwei is the kind of beauty that harms the country and the people, then this person is the beauty of national security and peace. Undoubtedly, she comes from a background as a dancer, with a perfectly proportioned figure and exquisite and elegant facial features. Jiulu has been following her for a long time in her past life. If we talk about this person's name, many people may not be very familiar with it, but when it comes to her daughter, it is widely known. The young woman who walked out of the director's office but did not achieve her wish was Lu Tianxian's mother. Just now the director called her Xiaoli, so she matched the number. Jiulu smashes his mouth, not expecting that Fu Weiwei and Lu Xiaoli are both from Hacheng, Longjiang province. Jiulu's heart was a bit excited. She had not yet traveled to this era and felt that she could not fully utilize the advantages of her time traveler. Unexpectedly, there are so many top-notch beauties in just a small hacheng. The absence of this era is not like the rampant four major face-changing witchcraft in East Asia in the following decades. This beautiful woman is pure and natural. Just say Ma Yan and Yao Er, each born with their own unique beauty. And Fu Yiwei and Lu Xiaoli, one TV actress and one dancer, are both famous and can only be broadcasted with fame. If you want to eat pure natural food, it's best to go to the primitive forest. If you want to have no romantic relationship with pure nature, then you really have to come to this era. Watching Ao Jiu staring intently at Lu Xiaoli, Ma Yan felt angry. She wanted to pinch this lecherous man, but because Fu Wenyang was by her side, she was afraid of losing face for Jiu Gu. In the end, she began to look for reasons from herself, and she really found them out. Not to mention height, why is there such a big gap between the two women? The eternal pain in Ma Yan's chest is not as perfect as Lu Xiaoli's display. Comrade, we're inside. Run Yang whispered to Ao Jiu. The young man's tomb is not a big deal. Oh, okay. Ao Jiu withdrew his gaze, not realizing that Ma Yan wanted to eat his gaze. Ma Yan originally didn't want to go in, but Ao Jiu's performance just now made her very uneasy, so she followed in. Leadership. Old Fu, who is this? I just heard from outside that the leader of the radio station is a woman. After meeting, seeing the capable female leaders, there was less expectation and surprise. Leader, young family generals, Yang Taichung's originally cold face suddenly burst into laughter. The storytelling is so good, I didn't expect you to be so young, comrade. Hello Director Yang, although I am not very old, I have been influenced by my uncle and grandfather since I was young, and I have been studying for many years. Ao Jiu cannot be looked down upon because of his youth, as it is related to negotiating prices. Is the matter settled? Director Yang asked Run Yang. The young comrade said he wants to talk to you face-to-face. What the leader hates the most is not disobedient subordinates, but incompetent subordinates. Fu Wenyang didn't handle the matter, and his voice was still trembling when he spoke. Yang Taichung is indeed not easy to speak, but in front of so many people, it is not easy to get angry. Okay, Lao Fu, take that little girl down to drink some water, and I'll personally receive this little comrade. Ao Jiu raised his eyelids at Ma Yan, indicating that he could handle it. Ma Yan had to pout and follow old Fu out. There were only two people left in the office, and Director Yang didn't beat around the bush and immediately went straight to the topic. Comrade Xiao Ao just mentioned your uncle, and I also asked someone to ask. Shan Tianfang and Yuan Qicheng are indeed quite close to your family, but if you say that with the two of them learning, isn't it possible? The circle of storytelling is so large, it is not difficult to inquire about that person's affairs, given the position of the balcony in the literary and artistic world. Although Ao Jiu often sees those two relatives, he really hasn't learned from them seriously. His ability to evaluate books is not something he learned from the two of them. But in the previous life, I bought Gua Digang's Ji Gong Zhuan and self-taught it. So when he said storytelling, he added a lot of jokes about cross-talk. This innovative performance style not only allows the audience to become addicted to it, but also becomes more and more interesting as they listen, making them unable to stop laughing. This is also a new way of storytelling performance. In this era, not only is it better than Dan Tianfang and Yuan Qicheng, but it is bound to make a breakthrough. Since the other party had already inquired, Ao Jiu also let go. Director Yang, there are a lot of disciples from my uncle and uncle. You can definitely ask them to come and record, why bother asking me again? As you said, I haven't studied seriously, and I don't have any reputation in the circle. Ao Jiu didn't hesitate to speak and kicked the ball back to the opponent. Yang Tai frowned and couldn't believe that the other party was too young to accept his own tricks. She had heard this kid's storytelling with her own ears, not to mention stronger than Dan Tianfang and Yuan Quichen, but definitely several levels stronger than their disciples. Moreover, the voice quality and oral skills are both top-notch choices. The most precious thing is that the performance of storytelling during the hour on the train was just a live performance. An hour without even making a mistake. If you come to the TV station to record a review, you will have to interview and perform live in front of the director. This kid is performing in front of thousands of people. The power and aura of this pressure artist are reminiscent of an old artist. I don't know how Fu Wenyang talked about it, but director Yang first made a bold move, but the effect was not good. Since the other party wants to talk, let's have a frank conversation. Didn't we start asking for a price? So director Yang put on a smile again and said, although I don't know your father, director Wang and I are still very familiar. As an elder, I can't afford to lose you either. The general of the Yang family costs a reward of 1,000 yuan. Aogio smacks his mouth, and when it comes to TV stations collaborating with newcomers, he has given so much, so much. A worker with 5 years of work experience earns less than 40 yuan a month and 2 years of food and drink to earn so much. Jiulu was busy with storytelling for at most a month, earning 700 yuan on his own, excluding 300 yuan for the railway unit. There are really quite a few. But he felt that he was not just worth it. Previously, when my tone was so tough and Yang Taichung greeted me with a smile, it was because the other party infinitely recognized my value. At least recognized the value of Yang Zhejiang. This book review is sure to be popular throughout the country. Just selling the cassette tapes to other radio stations all over the country can earn more than 100,000 yuan. Director Yang, I came to talk to you because I think we have a destiny. To the south are Changchun, Shenzhen, and Dalian. You should know that my father's relationship is over there. Aogio directly stated her own way out. As long as Yang family generals is in hand, I am not just a buyer like you. Director Yang can be considered shrewd, but within the system for many years, she is also a literary propaganda outlet. If you ask her to talk about business, she really doesn't have much experience. The words have already reached this point, and there is no room for negotiation. If Aogio is not satisfied, he will definitely go to another TV station. Especially in Liaoning province, there are a group of experienced storytelling artists there. Now that Longjiang province has just moved into a new building, it's not just about spending money. If it can generate some income, Director Yang can also go further. How many TV stations in the country make money? Comrade Xiao Ao, could you share your own opinion? However, as you know, we belong to the propaganda camp and are purely a place for spending money, with little budget. Director Yang began to pretend to be pitiful. I told teacher Fu before. For the first cooperation, I can do it without taking a penny in the early stage, but let's split the cost of the recording tape between us. If the general of the Yang family becomes popular throughout the country, then for the subsequent storytelling, each part will cost 10,000 yuan, and we will split the cost of the audio tape. Aogio repeated his conditions. Although director Yang was also startled by each of the following films, what he just said was that the generals of the Yang family is free. That is to say, at least before the Yang family becomes popular, at least before selling the cassette tapes, the TV station doesn't have to pay a penny. A score of 5 or 5 is somewhat unacceptable, and a score of 6 or 4 is even more nonsense. They are a television station, and there is no one who earns more than a television station. But there's no need to spend money in the early stages. Yang Taichung is a woman who is extremely meticulous and rational. Although I am very optimistic about the Yang family generals, what if they don't become popular? I thought Aogio was holding on to me. Is that all? Young people are too crazy, thinking they can do anything. Director Yang actually felt that he had made a profit. Anyway, Taiwan is not at a disadvantage. In fact, television stations are not at a disadvantage. If Ao becomes popular, everyone will also achieve a win-win situation. She originally wanted to pull some strings, but it didn't feel very interesting either. With a big wave of his hand, Xiao Ao, for the sake of Wang Ju's face, I agree. Let's sign the agreement today. What do you think? No problem, you must have a template for the agreement on your end. We'll handle this today. Happy cooperation. Yang Tai stood up with a smile and extended his hand. Ao gently shook hands with the other party. After only half an hour, Ao made an agreement with director Yang to start recording the Yang family generals from the day after tomorrow. The Aojiu version of Yang Jiajiang storytelling has 120 episodes, each lasting half an hour, and can record 6 to 8 episodes per day. It will take at least half a month to complete the recording. However, when broadcasting storytelling on radio and television stations, it is not necessary to record all of it. It can be played in just 30.50 episodes. If storytelling can become popular, it will be effective after broadcasting 60 episodes. That is to say, whether Yang family generals can become popular or not can produce results within a maximum of 3 months. In addition, the programs of Longjiang radio station can be listened to in the 3 eastern provinces and Inner Mongolia, which takes only 2 to 3 months to spread to these places. If the audience loves to listen, there will inevitably be a great fever nationwide within 6 months. So if Ao wants to make money with the Yang family, he will have to take the college entrance examination at least 4 or 5 months later. However, storytelling is a slow and steady stream of money, and earning money also comes from writing books and reading royalties. Coming out of the TV station, Ao happened to deliver his 50,000-word novel to the Railway Weekly where Sister Wang was located. There should be news in 3 to 5 days. Ao is still very confident in her novel. 2 days later, Ao recorded the storytelling for the first time, but unexpectedly met Lu Xiaoli, who was interning at a television station. Chapter 9. The Heavenly Immortal's Mother. Why do you always have trouble with me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although it is clearly stated in the agreement that Ao did not receive any money in the early stage, due to the face of Director Wang of the Railway Bureau, Director Yang cannot refuse to pay a penny. Recording storytelling every day and receiving a subsidy of 5 yuan from the audience can be considered better than nothing. The project team for Yang Family Generals is not just Ao, but also equipped with a director, and recording engineer on stage. The director is an old acquaintance Fu Wenyang, and the recording master is a middle-aged uncle who is relatively friendly. The person who acted as a bookkeeper, also known as the one doing miscellaneous tasks on site, surprised Ao a bit. Surprisingly, it was Lu Xiaoli who had a chance encounter. She is a dancer, even if she is just an intern, she should not be reduced to doing odd jobs. Thinking of her conversation with the director, Ao felt it was quite reasonable. Since I won't stay on stage and I'm still an intern, let's move wherever we need to. It's good for Lu Xiaoli to join the group, otherwise Ao would face 2 middle-aged men all day and her condition would be average. Having a pleasing beauty by his side, with his flamboyant personality, he can perform exceptionally well and perhaps even come up with a few good jokes to show off. However, due to adjustment reasons, 2 episodes were recorded throughout the morning, while Lu Xiaoli, as the recording director, only silently listened to the director's instructions and didn't say a word. The whole person was quite aloof, with a feeling of rejecting a noble beauty thousands of miles away. However, in Ao's eyes, he noticed her with a heavy heart. The director and equipment engineer are always moved by the content of Ao's storytelling, and are often amused by the funny characters inside, covering their mouths and not daring to laugh out loud. However, Lu Xiaoli has been wandering beyond the sky. During lunch, 4 people are grouped together. Although it is temporary, under normal circumstances, they should eat at the same table. Everyone eats in the TV cafeteria, and regular meals are free. If you want to have a big meal, you have to pay for it. Aojo subsidized with 5 yuan a day, and took out 3 of them to buy a plate of braised pork belly and boiled fish for several colleagues to eat together. Director Fu Wenyang and equipment master Li Aimin happily agreed. In this era, no one can eat meat all at once. In their view, Comrade Xiao Ao not only speaks well in storytelling, but also has a strange personality. Please treat everyone to 2 meat and vegetables for a meal, this is a life that only capitalists can afford. However, Lu Xiaoli, who Aojo most wanted to invite, refused and silently ate alone in the corner, carrying her own white rice and tofu vegetables. Teacher Fu, this girl can't be at home with something to do, she's restless. Aojo asked while eating. She is quite curious about the heavenly immortal mother. Don't think too much, there are no extra ideas at this stage. Eating people with a short mouth, Run Wenyang said that he couldn't continue to cooperate with Aojo in the future, so he knew everything without hesitation. And Run Yang knows that Aojo has an object, and Lu Xiaoli also has an object. The environment strongly disdains the behavior of digging at the foot of a wall, so he doesn't associate it with that aspect either. Xiao Lu's situation is indeed quite frustrating. Her boyfriend is quite capable in Wuhan and wants her to stay there. But her father's health is not good, and she wants her boyfriend to come to Hacheng. Do you think that in a life of 2 people, one person should have a formal job? You also saw that yesterday the director did not agree. So she can only go to Wuhan, but she is worried that her father is here alone. And people are getting older and unwilling to go south. Fu Wenyang explained in great detail and made Lu Xiaoli's predicament quite clear. Throughout this woman's life, she has been fighting against fate. A good-looking girl may be luckier, but when they rely on a man to get up, falling down can also be very painful. But in the end, they will still get up. For women, beauty is the biggest, strongest, and most deadly weapon. It is precisely for this reason that Aojo felt that Yao Er's ending was somewhat absurd. The story of traveling from south to north starts from beginning to end, and Yao Er's portrayal is particularly successful. She has always been someone who won't compromise herself. She constantly dresses herself up to live better than other women. A high-quality life and face are what Yao Er has always pursued. A woman who doesn't even rush out for her desired life goals. Whoever can give her these, she will find a way to get closer to someone and ultimately marry someone. Jia Jinlong was caught. How could Yao Er possibly set up a stall? Big Brother's woman is called sister.in.law. Have you ever seen any sister.in.law who is not doing well? With Yao Er's beauty and cunning, it is easy to find new donors. Sometimes, Aojo feels that Lu Xiaoli and Yao Er are very similar. However, Lu Xiaoli has not yet fully understood and is still feeling a bit sentimental when it comes to choosing between family and love. This meal was very comfortable. Having too many pears can easily make you drowsy, and recording and commenting on books is even more important. You can't be careless. So there is still rest time after meals, and the construction officially starts at 2:30 p.m. Perhaps something was causing a delay, and Lu Xiaoli arrived at the scene only after the 245th Olympic Games had already started. Fu Wenyang gave her a dissatisfied glance. Because I arrived late, I didn't dare to daydream and waited quietly for orders. Although it is an internship, it is not acceptable for her to write some negative comments on it. However, just because she didn't listen in the morning, she still started listening to Aojo's storytelling halfway through, and surprisingly, she was deeply attracted by the fascinating content. Fu Wenyang and Li Aigua covered their mouths and smiled, trying not to make any noise. But Lu Xiaoli lost her mind in the morning and now she's lost again. When Aojo said something funny, she didn't hold back. Yang Yanzhao was imprisoned with 2 fellow inmates. He asked one of them, "What did you do to come in?" "I suggest your majesty kill Yang Yanzhao." He asked another person, "What about you?" "I suggest your majesty release Yang Yanzhao." Then the 2 of them asked him at the same time, "What about you?" Do you agree to let go or agree to kill? Well, I'm Yang Yanzhao. Pup, oh my. Although it's the most ordinary bear joke, people who know it have not heard it yet, and the laughter is surprisingly low. After Lu Xiaoli burst out laughing, she realized something was wrong. Run Yang on the side looked at her with a cannibalistic gaze. Teacher Ao, listen. Ao Jiu can only stop broadcasting. This is going to be broadcasted on the radio stations in the entire Longjiang province, and such mistakes cannot occur. Director is sorry, Teacher Ao is sorry, Master Li is sorry, I couldn't help it. Lu Xiaoli was just laughing, and tears immediately came down her face. I didn't show face and didn't participate in the team building at noon, so something went wrong in the afternoon. Ao Jiu doesn't mind, it's only a dozen or so minutes. With his ability, he can easily replicate the classic just now, and it's even better than what he just said. But Fu Wenyang is not satisfied here. 2 games in the morning with preheating, both of which were played once. Unfortunately, something went wrong with Lu Xiaoli this afternoon. Xiaoli, you have been here for several months. Please serve some dim sum. How could the station director keep you like this? Fu Wenyang spoke heavily and specifically stabbed the wound. Lu Xiaoli was in a bad position, and now she can only cry to gain sympathy from a few people. Yeah, Xiaoli, a 10-minute tape is not cheap. On average, it costs 50 cents per minute. Li Aigua was also very angry. Me, I'll compensate. Su was well protected by her family, and her boyfriend was too spoiled. Lu Xiaoli didn't continue to apologize, but said something that no one could accept. Xiaoli, it's not just a matter of money. You haven't fully understood the essence of the matter. What if Teacher Ao's state breaks and he can't connect? You don't work seriously, and if you make mistakes, you either cry or lose money. What's your attitude? Fu Wenyang is quite popular. What do you want to do? At this moment, Lu Xiaoli stopped crying and began to grit her teeth. Ao Jiu felt that she should have been at ease. Teacher Fu, Xiaoli, you don't have to worry about my situation here. Working together is fate, so be careful in the future. Ao Jiu gave everyone a step forward, worked together to solve the problem, and started working. Moreover, Run Yang also demonstrated his authority, and he prepared for things to pass like this. However. Teacher Ao, you've become a good person now. Why didn't you speak at first? I don't think you're all good people. One sings red-faced and the other sings black-faced, just trying to give me a pair of shoes to wear. Lu Xiaoli completely stopped being human, and after speaking, she slammed the door and left. Ao Jiu's face was unbelievable. No wonder online novels have written you like that. You did indeed do it. Who did I mess with? Not only Ao Jiu, but also Fu Wenyang was extremely angry. If you still want to prepare with this attitude, I'll find the station chief. Hey, Teacher Fu. Ao Jiu quickly grabbed it. For those people who are not worth it, we should be fine without her in the morning. Even the 3 of us can do this well with Ao Jiu's comfort. Run Yang suppressed his anger. The 3 of them prepared again and were not influenced by Lu Xiaoli. They successfully recorded the 5 rounds of the afternoon. Teacher Ao, although it's the first day of recording, your state is really good. Run Yang gave a thumbs up. I have recorded quite a few programs, and it's common for me to pause 3 or 5 times. You've done it all over again. If it weren't for Lu Xiaoli's fault, we could have produced 7 episodes today. Li Aimin also agreed nearby. It's all the result of everyone's joint efforts. Ao Jiu humbly patted the shoulders of the 2 collaborators. If placed on the film crew, the 3 of them are the lead actor, director, and photographer. A reliable trio. At this pace, maybe it will end in 10 days, Run Yang predicted confidently. Then I'll be even closer to earning money, ha ha ha, Ao Jiu laughed. Teacher Ao, I'll go find the station director now and broadcast tomorrow. It's okay to specify it based on your status. Fu Wenyang's workability is not a problem, and he's also a good person. I am very reassured to leave it all to Teacher Fu. I made an appointment tonight, and I'll treat both of you to a drink another day. Ao smiled and pulled out a few pieces of chocolate. This is a candy that my father bought and mailed back to me from Guangzhou. The two of you took it home to give the children a try. Ao has strong abilities and also understands the world and is generous in her actions. Both middle-aged people are very satisfied with this young man. It can also be seen from the title. At first, the Rune Yang was called Comrade Aojio, and now it's called Teacher Ao. The three of them were all very happy today, except for Lu Xiaoli's matter. After everyone parted ways, Aojio was about to go out on his bicycle when he unexpectedly met Lu Xiaoli again. Chapter 10. The novel is ready for serialization, but the enemy's path is narrow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After being slapped in the face, Aojio was already a gentleman without immediately fighting back. Now that I've encountered it, it's definitely impossible to greet me with a smile. He's not a licking dog. But she didn't want Lu Xiaoli to have a dirty mouth. Inferiority. Aojio frowned. Did I provoke you? Comrade Lu Xiaoli, we are all colleagues who work together. Even if we don't work together in the future, you don't need to just curse, do you? Hehe, can I still not know your thoughts? After speaking, Lu Xiaoli rode her bike and left. Angry, Aojio almost bit her teeth and bled. I never imagined that I would be loved by everyone and flowers would bloom in the railway courtyard, but I have been despised and insulted by this woman since the afternoon until now. I really want to go up and slap her twice. Let's endure for now. Meeting such an unreasonable woman is considered unlucky for oneself. Just now I told Rune Yang that I have something to do tonight. That's not an excuse. Wang's elder sister called to inform him that his manuscript had passed and asked him to go home tonight to discuss the matter of manuscript fees. Although the two families have a good relationship and belong to the family, it's still better to explain the money issue clearly. Aojio, with his two long legs, almost kicked off his bicycle to have dinner at Ma Yan's house after negotiating with Sister Wang. In just over 10 minutes, I arrived at Miss Wang's residential area at lightning speed. Although they are all railway workers, Wang and his wife are considered cadres, living in a building of only 60 square meters. A couple with one child can be considered quite spacious. Aojio went upstairs and knocked on the door. A round-faced intellectual older sister in her 30s, wearing glasses, opened the door. Aojio, hurry in. Uncle, did you bring me sugar this time? Wang Jie's 6-year-old son looked at Aojio eagerly, holding the head of the meatball. Aojio never disappoints those who have expectations for her, and puts a large amount of chocolate candy in the child's hand. Uncle is the best. The child took the candy and ran around Aojio before running away. Eat less, your teeth are all black. Sister Wang reminded her son and complained to Aojio, you can't bring sugar in the future. Sister, if I don't bring sugar next time, I'm afraid he'll be separated from me. Aojio was not at all reserved and took off his shoes, changed shoes, and entered the room to sit down. Are you not afraid that I will be separated from you? Sister Wang said angrily. Where's my brother? Law. He hasn't finished work yet. Aojio didn't take over. Probably soon, we'll have dinner together later. Miss Wang, wearing an apron, was just cooking. Well, I'll go back and eat. Joe, you've always despised the food I cook since you were young. If you don't eat it this time, I'll really be upset. Wang seemed a bit angry. The two families are in the same military compound, just like siblings. But when the elder sister of the Wang family said this, he had no choice but to agree. Sister, since the draft has been completed, you can help me determine how much it costs, and I need to come over and have a special meal. Are you punishing me or letting me thank you? The eldest sister of the Wang family cooked, while Aojio held the child and peeled him sugar paper. You can't say that. If your novel becomes popular, the money will be quite substantial. So I have to explain it to you face to face. Words came from the kitchen. Can you still trick me? Aojio looked indifferent. We are too close, and my dad is still in a position. The cost of serializing a novel ranges from 3 to 10 yuan per 1,000 words. The editor thinks that you are a newcomer, and whether anyone has read the novel without verification should be given the lowest score. But because of my relationship with my father, the editor-in-chief proposed to give 5 yuan per 1,000 words. It's all right, Aojio agreed with a big grin as she knew that the eldest sister of the Wang family had more to say. But I refused, so I set the minimum for you. I'll listen to you all. You don't want to know why. Can you still harm me? Aojio said, but in fact, she felt a bit disappointed. Firstly, we cannot let anyone say that your novel is based on relationships. The second novel is a mystical matter, so no one can guarantee that your novel will be very successful, even though your brother.in.law, I, and my father love to read it, I know that. But don't worry. The distribution scale of our Railway Weekly Report is mainly concentrated in the 3 eastern provinces, and the audience is mainly some enterprises and institutions. The highest manuscript fee is only 10 yuan per 1,000 words. But we also have the Railway Daily on top of us. As long as your novel can become popular, it can be published nationwide and be a daily newspaper. The maximum fee for a novel in a daily newspaper can reach 30 words per 1,000 words. I cannot guarantee that I can strive for the highest fee. If it gets really popular, I can still get 25 words per 1,000 words. Upon hearing this, Aojio was quite happy at first, but later on, she thought about it. Isn't this a pie for herself? However, being able to pass the draft of one's own novel is seen as strength by oneself and those who understand it. But to outsiders, it's all about relationships. Sister Wang and Uncle Wang are also under pressure. This cannot be blamed on them for suppressing their own manuscript fees. And I only wrote 50,000 words myself, what if it breaks down later? That kind of thing often happens, and no one can avoid it. So the 3 yuan manuscript fee is really the most suitable. How much money do you want? An 18-year-old writer. Even potatoes have to prove themselves step by step. Aojio easily figured out the key to the problem. And isn't there a future to this? Sister, I'm young and don't understand many things. I'll listen to you. You need to think carefully. Now that you're also working, pay more attention to your social skills. Got it, sister. Also, the name of your novel, won't you change it? What else should I change? Aojio blocked the copyist, but he couldn't copy all the names. The movie, Twin Dragons of the Tang Dynasty, is too awkward. How comfortable it is to listen to Twin Dragons of the Tang Dynasty. Upon hearing these words, Aojio felt a chill. Is this the original author borrowing Wang Jie's words to ask for an explanation from themselves? No, sister, let's just play Twin Dragons of the Tang Dynasty. Aojio quickly stopped. Okay, your novel will be serialized next week. How many words do you plan to write? More than 3 million, right? The original work had 3.7 million words, and Aojio planned to add some private work to reach 4 million. How much? Sister Wang, who was cooking, almost cut her hand and put down the knife before leaving the kitchen. More than 3 million. It's not that I can't trust you, sister. Believe it, just take a look. Aojio pushed Wang Jie to cook. I'll send you your novel next week, so be more prepared to save it. Sister Wang returned to the kitchen. The first payment of 150 yuan for the manuscript will be sent to the finance department tomorrow when I go to work. The matter of the manuscript fee was finally discussed, and after 2 people were talking nonsense, the door opened. Xinniu jumped down and rushed to the door, holding a handsome guy's leg and exclaiming happily, "Dad." Wang Jie's husband is the deputy head of the Harbin Railway Art Troupe, originally a dancer. It is clear at a glance who is strong or weak in their marriage. The reason why Wang Jie, who has an average appearance, married this cheap brother. In law of Aojo is self-evident, as to who put in the most effort. Aojo will not look down on her brother. In law named Lu Changhe, because this is already reality. But to his surprise, there was a woman following behind Lu Changhe. Seeing this woman, Ojo became angry. "Why are you everywhere?" Lu Xiaoli was even more surprised than Aojo when she saw him.